This is the Stockwell Eldridge Show, giving you the real-time information you need to make educated decisions about buying and selling in the world-renowned Twin Cities. Now your hosts and real estate experts, Jason Stockwell and Dawn Eldridge.
Good morning, Twin Cities. Today, temporarily, we have the Eldridge and Havel show.
Yes, good morning. Thanks for having me. I feel privileged to sit in the Stockwell chair.
I know, it's extra cushy, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
And it's got all these risers on it, so you look really tall. Just kidding.
I don't have the special chair.
Oh.
Only you do.
Oh, only I do. All
Yep.
right.
That's 'cause of the sparkles.
Oh,
so.
well, Jason will be joining us later, too, so
Yeah.
we just thought I didn't want to leave Dawn sit aside from
That's
herself.
right. I was lonely. Anyways, we have a great show today. We have Don Doty with us with Home Place Inspections. He has been an inspector for
25 years.
Wow. And you were also a home builder.
22 years.
Wow. So, and I have used Don quite a bit. He's amazing. So anybody that needs somebody, he's wonderful to work with. Very detailed. He actually went through one of my clients' houses that was new construction, which a lot of people don't think that they need an inspection with new construction. And he marked all the flaws in the house
Well, that's what I
with
was
blue
going to say.
tape.
I bet
it was
that
awesome.
adds a lot to your credibility being a home builder and a home inspector. And and I'm sure we can get more into that too, because I think that is such a valuable in mortgage. We always, that's one of the things before somebody's really willing to move forward with a purchase agreement. We don't order an appraisal or really want to move forward until they have a home inspection completed. So.
Yeah. So then the other guest we have today is Isabella D'Angelo.
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I right? All right,
Yes, ma'am.
good. And she is with Great Northern Granite. So she sells all the beautiful settings for countertops, which is always nice. And I'm sure you're surrounded by beautiful granite around you in your office, or
We have a beautiful showroom right in Edina.
Oh,
We
wow.
have our fabrication facility in Bloomington. We're an importer, so we own all of our own stone with a large inventory of remnants. We fabricate, and then we have our showroom and our own installation team.
wow.
Well, and I was going to say with the name Isabella D'Angelo, I'm going to go on a limb and say you're Italian.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, so am I. So I know Stephanie Havel, blonde hair. I'm a dead ringer, right, for a Sicilian?
Yes, I would have
know.
guessed that right
You're
off the
thinking,
bat.
oh my God, she's straight up Sicily right there, right?
So where in Edina is the showroom?
We're at 7605 Washington Avenue South.
Okay, is that west of 100?
That is right off of 169 in Valley View.
Okay, yep, I know
Yep.
right where that is. That's a
Yep.
great location. And a little known secret about Isabella is she had her own radio show called The Bella D'Angelo Show as well, which we'll talk about more when Jason comes in. I know he's got a lot of questions for you, so he should be here momentarily. Right now we're going to kind of do an update on the market. The market is, I have actually seen an increase in the market. It's fabulous. I'm so excited. Are you seeing it too?
Yeah, and I think we had this last year also with the weather being so nice.
Yeah.
It really is keeping people motivated and spurred, and, it's just been beautiful here, in the Twin Cities with the weather. So people are getting out and looking at houses more and so forth. So I do think that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I listed a property, went on the market at about $245 yesterday, and I have already 3 offers coming in on it in Northeast. You did the Truth and Housing on it.
Oh, sure.
Cute little house, needs work, but I had it in the pre-list on Zillow, got no response. I was shocked, and somebody could have easily bought that house at a better price had they had an agent that was looking at the pre-list status on properties. It's really important in this market to watch the pre-list. Make sure you have an agent that can connect you with a property that is in pre-list status. We actually saw an increase in new listings. They're up 5.6% from this time last year, and an increase in closed sales. They're up 5.7% from this time last year. And then the median sale price is up 3.6% from this time last year. And last month, it was up 5.7% from last month last year. So we had a little bit of a dip in the increase in sale price, but It's pretty awesome. We're hanging in there, and gotta love Minnesota for that. I think we're a lot different than
Well,
the
I'm just
nation.
thinking, hey, our viewers are listening to us.
Yeah.
They are. They're listening to what we say. We've been talking about this, week after week. Get your home on the market. Now is the time. Typically, Minnesota, we're more of a seasonality where people don't want to move in the middle of winter or deal with any of that. So that's why I do, like, as I mentioned earlier, the weather. But yeah, with rates, like I said, our pre-approvals, my team, we're calling all of our customers who are already pre-approved saying, get out there and look. There's more homes coming on the market. Now is the time. And, I'm not an accountant, but I know there's tax deductions and tax benefits, when you sell or purchase a home. So, get that in before the 31st if you need some, tax help.
Well, yeah, and as a buyer, as the stats just showed, prices are actually a little down from last month.
Oh,
so
really?
Why wouldn't you?
Do people
Find
tend to
something
adjust?
now.
So, kind of an off-top maybe question is, how long would you say if somebody has a home on the market and it's not selling, is that, sometimes you always think, is that the first thing you do is go right for a price reduction? Or are there things that you could look at? Or how often when should you consider a price reduction?
Well, there's a number of things that factor into that. So some people, one conversation that we often have when we meet with sellers is, do you want to sell your house as is, or do you want to do recommended repairs to get the most for your dollar, where you would get your money back, such as install granite for the countertops, have a fireplace inspection, have a radon inspection or test done, all of that. If people do not want to do anything to their house, then truly it is about pricing. Mm-hmm. And if it hasn't sold in the first 2 weeks in this market with how lean inventory is, it is about price reducing then until you get an offer.
So actually that kind of gives me a question maybe too for you, Dawn. Like, as a seller, I'm almost thinking, would you recommend if you're listing your house to get a home inspection? Would that maybe, or as a realtor, what would be your thoughts on that?
Well, the cities that require inspections, like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Bloomington, Robbinsdale, Hopkins, require what's called truth in housing. So you have to have an inspection done.
Prior to listing your home?
Yes,
Oh, okay. And that's only in certain cities or counties, you said, I'm sorry?
cities.
In certain cities, okay.
Now, here's the other thing. Let's just say you've got a house in Plymouth, and Plymouth doesn't require inspections. It still might be a good idea to get what's called a seller's inspection,
Okay.
which is similar to a buyer inspection, only it's for you, the seller, just to give you a heads up of really something that you've made a mistake, maybe choose the wrong builder, plumber, electric.
Or if you did it yourself.
Hopefully,
Right.
hopefully the inspector will find stuff so that you can be proactive, get that stuff corrected, so it doesn't come up and bite you later when time is closing. You don't want to end up with a surprise at the end. You just want to know what it is that you've been living in for years and maybe what you've neglected.
Right. Well, and I think that's a good point. This is, probably a conversation we'll have off the air, but my nephew is living in a house and, his friend had bought the house, his roommate bought the house, and young kids really didn't know a lot, what they were doing, just looking around, found this house, cool, okay, it's a good price. And they said every time they go upstairs into these rooms, they're sniffling, they get colds. Well, then he's like, yeah, well, it was a meth house before. And I'm like, okay,
I'm
well,
surprised it wasn't tore down. Wow.
did the realtor disclose? Well, I'm sure there was a disclosure, but again, the realtor probably thought, oh, this, young guy buying the house doesn't really know. But I was thinking, no, is that something? Because then I thought, oh, okay, here's me, auntie going to intervene. My nephew, okay, what's going on? So
Right.
Is that something as a home inspector, you like? So they already own the home, okay? They're not looking to sell it or buy it, whatever. They already own it, but they feel like there's some things maybe in the walls or the soil or something. Is that something you as a home inspector could look at as well, or?
Well, on our inspections, it's visual only.
Okay.
And if we spot something, you say, for instance, mold, then we'll send you off to somebody that's a mold expert.
Okay.
And that's actually what I was going to say. We had Vicki Swenson on. She's a mold expert. She's amazing. Maybe they want to start there, even though they know it was a meth lab. They're usually sniffling is a sign that they could have an allergy to mold, and it's growing in the walls.
Okay.
However, the chemicals that are used in meth, it's crazy. And
Yeah.
Is that something that could be detected in a? because I know it has to be disclosed, but is that something that can be detected in a home inspection if it wasn't known? Like maybe there wasn't known that they were.
Was it a
Pretty hard.
foreclosure? Because the banks
Yes.
do seller's disclosure alternatives. They've never been in the house. They have never lived in it. They don't have to disclose anything.
But okay, but so they don't have to so there could be meth in the house, but they don't have to disclose it.
Right.
As an inspector, is there certain tests that you could do or that you would know based on your experience?
Not really.
No. Okay.
I mean, it's not like there's residue left over. Mm-hmm. And there's bad stuff in that.
Right.
And it's buyer beware also.
How did they find out it was a meth lab?
So I think that they didn't know. I think it was on the, because isn't there a disclosure on the purchase agreement that
Yeah,
they
but
have
if
knowledge?
it's a foreclosure, usually the banks have a waiver that the buyer has to
They
sign.
could have found out from the neighbors.
Okay.
Too. I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it just kind of got to my thinking about, with home inspections and so forth. Because it's something, in the mortgage industry, we talk with our customers all the time. And that's why I was saying, like, as with a seller, when they're going to look for properties and things like that, I would think it would be a smart choice as a seller because your buyers are going to come in and say, and I'm sure it's always a matter of opinion, right? Just like home appraisers are. Their inspector could come in and say, oh, yeah, this roof is bad, the furnace is bad. But then the sellers could come back and say, well, look, our guy, Don, said this, your guy's saying this.
Yes. With my background, nobody has that. And that's why I will give you 100% of your money back if you can find anybody in the country with my background.
And people have tried.
Wow.
I have clients
That's
that have
impressive.
In the
Googled all
country.
over.
In the country, yeah. We're not talking just Twin Cities, right?
No, in the country.
That's
And I
amazing.
put that right on my website.
Is it just you? Do you have a protege, Don? Or obviously nobody's going to.
I just don't trust anybody to do my home inspections. I have to do them, and I have to live with it.
Right.
And so far, it's worked because I do the most inspections of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing that I like about Don is he has helped some of my sellers. We had one house was in perfect condition. 2 people walked away due to inspection. They never disclosed why. And so I'm like, Don, we need you to do a home inspection. There's something, I don't see anything going on. I've been a realtor 13 years. I kind of can tell if something's wrong with the house. He came in totally fine. It was just an excuse for the buyer to lock the house up until they found something else. And that was last year when it was an insane market.
Oh, so there really was nothing wrong with the inspection or anything
Nope.
like that.
So you can get a double check. All right.
That's good stuff. I have a lot of questions too for you, and also too for you, Bella. So.
Yeah. Oh, when we get back, we're going to talk with Isabella D'Angelo with Great Northern Granite, and we're going to learn about some new trends in granite. Thanks for listening.
I'm Stephanie with Wells Fargo Home Mortgage.
Dawn Eldridge, Remax Results.
She's mighty, mighty, just letting it all hang out. She's a friend.